New comic book day is almost here again. Let's take a look at what's coming out so I can tell you what's on the pull list. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the pull list. It's my weekly video series where I take a look at all the books coming out. This time we're talking about New Comic Book Day, March 13th, 2024. I'm going to tell you which books are on my pull list, what books are on the chopping block, and some other books that maybe should be on your radar as new number ones launching this week. Now, I always like to start these off with the book that I'm most excited for. But first, gotta send out condolences to the friends, family, fans of Akira Toriyama, the legendary mangaka. I think that's how you say that word. Creator of Dragon Ball and, of course, Dragon Ball Z, which it was like my gateway into anime. I say it was my gateway. It's also where I stopped. Like, there's nothing that quite captivated my childhood like Dragon Ball Z. Like, it's what inspired me to want to like do art in any sort of meaningful way. And man, so many of my childhood memories involve sitting in front of that TV, waiting for 5 o'clock to hit. Like, yeah, Reboot was cool. Yeah, The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest. Sure, that's all fine. Sailor Moon, whatever. The best part of my evenings while waiting for my mom to pick me up from the babysitter after school was absolutely Dragon Ball Z. So anyway, to all the fans out there who are, hurting and whatnot, my condolences to you guys. Also, my bad. This video is coming kind of late. It's been a crazy weekend. We had a church conference and then friggin' work going on the house, plumbing, it's been a busy Monday. But anyway, I couldn't do a video without shouting out Akira Toriyama. And I don't know if I'd have time to make a dedicated video. Just know I've been watching Dragon Ball Z for the last 4 days straight and still love it as much as I did the first time I ever saw it, which is cool because not a lot of things like that in my life, except maybe comics. Speaking of, let's talk about the book I'm most excited for this week, and that is Ultimate Black Panther issue number 2 from Marvel Comics, written by Brian Edward Hill, and with art by Stefano Caselli. This being the second of the Ultimate Universe titles, and definitely tying into the Ultimate Universe in a major way after the maker got, sort of disposed of. He's got all these other agents working around the world to try to, keep things going, keep the evil scheme going. And so the forces of Ra and Khonshu are working in concert with the maker, and they've brought the attack to Wakanda. For a minute, Wakanda was not thought of, and T'Challa was like, we're going to stay out of it. But then when the fight gets brought closer to home and someone T'Challa loves is affected, well, now the Ultimate Black Panther's got to spring into action. So I'm excited to see more action from this Ultimate T'Challa in this issue, and also get a little bit more world building, understanding how things came to be, different characters' motivations, what's going on with Storm, and another character that I won't spoil, for example. Now, I do know this is issue 2, and issue 1 kind of sold out everywhere. I know they had a second printing, but I don't know if that second printing is out this week, but go ahead and grab this. The second printing is coming out soon if it hasn't come out already. And then you'll be on the up and up with Ultimate Black Panther. Issue 2 out this week with a cover price of $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And since we're talking about Marvel Comics, let's go ahead and kick it off with the rest of the Marvel Comics pull list, starting with The Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 45. Now, I am fairly certain this is going to be my last issue of The Amazing Spider-Man, for reasons that I'll detail in another video later this week. Let's just say there's too many exciting things happening with Spider characters that are not the Amazing Spider-Man main title for me to keep paying $5 every week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, for a story that I'm just not fully enjoying. So Ultimate Spider-Man issue 45. Why would I not just cut it off with the gang war, which ended in issue 44? Because I really, really love this cover by John Romita Jr. So Anyway, if you want to hear my thoughts on why I'm canceling Amazing Spider-Man, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you know when that video comes out. Cover price on issue 45, though, $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And next book on the Marvel Comics pull list from Chip Zdarsky is Avengers Twilight, issue number 4. Chip Zdarsky and Daniel Acuna doing this sort of Dark Knight Returns with Captain America story. I mean, it features all the Avengers, but it's definitely a Cap-focused book. We got to see a really cool appearance from Kamala Khan in the last issue. And of course, we ended it with a last page reveal featuring the strongest Avenger. And man, I don't know, man, this series has just been going on all cylinders. It's been going really quickly. I've been enjoying it. And maybe it's because I don't read Avengers stories very often, and I don't feel like I need a ton of history to read this. It's just a dystopian future, totalitarian government, Captain America, and the rest of his friends book. I like it, though. Issue 4 out this week. I think it's either a 5 or 6 issue series, and they've been putting these out like every 2-3 weeks. I feel like this series is blazing by, and I swear it hasn't been a full month since the last issue. But cover price on issue 4 is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And next book on the Marvel Comics pull list is The Fall of the House of X, issue number 3. And yeah, man, I feel the same way about X-Men as I do with Spider-Man. And it's not because X-Men isn't good. It's different. Like with Spider-Man, I'm kind of actively not really enjoying the story. With X-Men and just the whole Krakoa era, I just feel tired of it, which I guess means it's fitting that it's coming to an end. X-Men 35 is going to be the last X-Men issue. We got 3 more issues of Fall of the House of X, 3 more issues of Rise of the Powers of 10, and then we're done with the Krakoa era. And someday soon, like very soon, we're going to get an announcement as to who is taking the new X-Men title and when it's going to launch and all that. So I'm excited for a new era of X-Men, or at least a fall off of this era, to tell you the truth. Cover price on this one's $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the last book on the Marvel Comics pull list this week, also in the X-Men universe, is Wolverine, issue 45. This is part 6 of the Sabretooth War. That's going to be going until issue 50. Written by Ben Percy and Victor LaValle. So that's cool stuff. It's a fine enough book. I've only read like the first 2 issues of the Sabretooth War. It's fine. It's just not connected to anything else that's going on. Super bloody, super violent. If you're not reading any other X-Men and you're a fan of Wolverine, hey, pick it up. It's going to be dope. I might wait for an OHC, or, if I were you, but hey, it's going to be fun either way. Wolverine, issue 45, 5 more issues until we hit issue 50 and end this run as well. Cover price on this is $4.99, grabbing cover A. And that's it for the Marvel Comics on the pull list. Now, my Marvel total this week is $25, and that's because every book on the list was $5 this week. What's interesting is Marvel announced at Comics Pro that they're going to be holding the line at $3.99. They're going to, all their regular titles are going to be $3.99 a piece, and then new number ones would be $4.99. And I guess they just decided they're going to get through the summer first, because these prices are still $5 a pop. But whatever. Let's move over to the Distinguished Competition over at DC Comics. 3 books on the pull list, also 3 $5 books, but whatever. Action Comics issue 1063. Action Comics, written by Jason Aaron. Art on this arc is by John Timms. This is the final issue of the, I think it's Bizarro story arc. They were like, we're doing the Superman All-Stars. It's going to be a new star-studded cast on Action Comics every 2 or 3 issues. And then what do we get? We got 3 issues of Jason Aaron writing this Bizarro storyline. And then, crossover. Action Comics, Superman. We're doing House of Brainiac with Joshua Williamson, who's been writing Superman this whole time. I mean, he's a superstar. I'm just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, we're going to build this as a revolving door of just amazing level talent and bring it back to the anthology, and then immediately abandon it to do a crossover? I don't know. I don't understand DC's decisions sometimes. But anyway, the Bizarro storyline, cover price on this is $4.99. And yeah, I'm grabbing cover A. All that to say, I'm actually excited about the House of Brainiac event because of some implications in other titles that we'll get to if they actually do rear their head during this event. If nothing else, I'm excited for Rafa Sandoval on art because that dude is a beast. Anyway, next up, speaking of Joshua Williamson, is Batman and Robin issue number 7. Bruce Wayne, Damian Wayne, trying to learn to live together and team up once again as the father and son duo they are. Can you tell I'm not caught up? Can you tell I'm making things up? Not making things up, just summarizing things that we saw at the first, second, third issue of this story. But Batman and Robin issue number 7. I'm still pulling this title even though I'm behind for one reason. Green Arrow, right? The reason is this. Joshua Williamson is basically architecting the DC universe right now. Between the House of Brainiac and whatever he's doing anywhere, right? All leading up to this absolute power storyline and event. Joshua Williamson's got the keys to the DC universe. I don't know what he's doing with Amanda Waller and all these different moving parts that have been moving since the end of Infinite Frontier, or actually since the end of Death Metal. Joshua Williamson has had the keys. And all of a sudden, we had the Green Arrow series, and it was like, oh, it's a mini series. It's for hardcore Green Arrow fans. And then all of a sudden he's doing like super DC universe implicating things in Green Arrow. And I skipped Green Arrow because I'm not a big Green Arrow fan or hadn't been a Green Arrow reader enough to appreciate all the deep cuts. And now I feel like I'm missing a section of the DC universe that I need to follow in order to understand the rest of this Waller Rising stuff. As I explain this, I'm like, dang, this is the problem with ongoing comics and why I'm a sucker for buying them. But whatever. All that to say, I'm reading Batman and Robin issue 7, or I'm buying Batman and Robin issue 7 because I need to know whatever Joshua Williamson's doing, wherever there might be clues, I need to know because I'm invested in the overall DC universe. Cover price on issue 7 of Batman and Robin is $4.99. Grabbing cover A. And last book on the DC Comics pull list this week is Green Lantern, issue number 9. Green Lantern by Jeremy Adams and Zermanico. Zermanico's back for this issue. And man, I have really, really been enjoying Green Lantern, which is crazy considering I started off my review of this run like, I don't care about Hal Jordan. And I care more about Hal Jordan through the pages of this run than I have at any point in history. And I guess that's the mark of a good writer working on a good character. So my bad, Hal Jordan fans. Although to be fair, like the stuff I'm interested in, invested in, is really about the overall core. And Hal is just the one that's, we're riding along with to discover what's happened. But whatever. I've been enjoying the title is my point. Cover price on this is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it for the DC Comics on the pull list. As long as I stick to the list, those will cost me $15. Now, let's skip on over to the indies and see where our damages end up. As this series, they finally pulled me in. Starting off the indie list this week is The One Hand, issue number 2 from Ram V. And I didn't write down the artist's name. Lawrence Campbell. It's Lawrence Campbell, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, the One Hand and the Six Fingers are two, sister series, 2 series that tell one story or 2 stories or 3 stories, according to the writers. But this sort of cat and mouse detective story, The One Hand being a book, basically telling you the story from the perspective of the detective investigating the crime, and The Six Fingers being a story being told from the point of view of the serial killer who may or may not know he's committing serial killings. Really, really interesting stuff. I was like, I'll check these out digitally. We'll see what happens. I grabbed issue 1 of each series. They pulled me in. So much so that I ordered second printings of each first issue. And I put issues 2 through whatever on my pull list. And there we go. Yes, Bunk. It's actually going to be on the pull list now. Cover price on this is $3.99. Grabbing cover A. And next up on the indie pull list is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 149. We're 1 issue away. Well, I guess 2. This one and the next one from the end of Sophie Campbell's run on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I've been buying this book for far too long to stop buying it now. Is basically why I'm buying this. I have no idea what's going on. Why is Donatello so old? I don't know. I've just been buying this book and buying it, knowing I'm behind. I'd have to read like all of the Armageddon game and the 10 or so issues that we've gotten since to be caught up. Am I going to do that? Probably not. You know what I'm probably going to do? I'm going to buy the Armageddon game deluxe edition when it comes out later this year. And then when volume 17, 18 of the Ultimate IDW Ninja Turtles hardcovers come out, I'm going to buy those. And I'm just going to have a full run of Ninja Turtles sitting in my collection. And who knows how long it'll sit unread. I am like partway through volume 2. I should probably finish volume 2. Anyway, that's my rant. TMNT issue 149. It's got a cover price of $3.99. Grabbing cover A. And cover B, maybe, because that Kevin Eastman cover looks cool. Just depends on what my shop ordered. Next up on the indie pull list this week is Thundercats, issue number 2. Thundercats by Drew Moss. Well, Declan Shalvey is the writing, and Drew Moss is on art. Basically a retelling of Thundercats from like the original 80s cartoon, 85, 87. I don't know when Thundercats came out. I wasn't born yet, but I enjoyed issue 1 well enough. Like I said, it was basically like a retelling of like how they get to the planet, who's after them, why are they after them. And we get to see Lion-O in some action. And we saw him like basically like do something really stupid that he wasn't supposed to do. And I'm like, well, how is he coming back from that? Because that's quite the challenge he faced at the end of issue 1. Obviously, they're going to have to like, fix it somehow in issue 2 moving forward. But how? And that's what I'm excited to see in issue 2. Really enjoying it so far. So far, it's more a nostalgia buy than anything else, but the story itself was intriguing enough. So I'm curious to see where issue 2 and beyond take us. So shout out to Dynamite for Thundercats issue number 2. Cover price on that's $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. But, Dynamite always does a million covers. I'm actually on the lookout for the cover E by Ivan Tao. That's just a really dope shot of Lion-O. So you could I'm either going to get the David Nakayama cover A with like the whole team, or I'm grabbing that. We'll see. $4.99 though. And the last book on the indie comics pull list this week, Transformers issue number 6. Transformers from writer-artist Daniel Warren Johnson. I should note this will be the last issue that he's drawing on on Transformers for a while. I don't know if that's a permanent thing. I don't know if he's taking a story arc off. I don't know. But issues 1 through 6 are done by Daniel Warren Johnson in full, with Mike Spicer on colors, Russ Wooten on letters. And starting with issue 7, we're going to have a different artist. So savor it. Robots in Disguise. Transformers issue number 6 out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it. That's it for the indie comics on the pull list. As long as I stick to the list, those will cost me $17 this week. And that brings us up to a grand total of $57, which means I'm over budget. I'm over budget by like basically 2 books. Well, 1 book and a quarter since Marvel's $5 now, but whatever. So $57. And that's before taxes, before my 10% subscriber discount. So overall, we're like $5 over budget. Total. Not the end of the world. Next week's going to be a little bit of a shorter list. So I'm not terribly upset about my total. But that does mean some of these books that are on my radar are going to have to just stay on the radar. Starting with Sons of Star Trek, issue number 1, written by Morgan Hampton. I didn't write down the artist, but Morgan Hampton of Cyborg fame, friend of the channel. What's up, Mo, if you're watching? But Mo from Cyborg. He wrote Cyborg 1 through 6, that whole miniseries. He did a story in DC Power 2023 featuring Cyborg. And now we get to see him flex his wings on other characters, namely the sons of famous Star Trek captains, including the kid from Deep Space Nine, whose name escapes me, mostly because I've never watched Deep Space Nine outside of the pilot. And I only watched that pilot because Mo told me to. And to be fair, it was pretty compelling TV, but who has millions of hours to spend watching Star Trek? I got a YouTube channel to run. Anyway, Sons of Star Trek, number 1, following the sons of Star Trek. If you're a Star Trek fan, grab it. It's in continuity. Star Trek is doing like the whole Star Wars thing where everything is in canon. So everything's going to affect everything else and be impacted by everything else as well. So check it out if you like Star Trek, especially if you like Deep Space Nine. Cover price on that's $4.99. Next up, another new series this week from DC, miniseries is Batman/Dylan Dog, issue number 1. Never heard of Dylan Dog. Apparently he's a very famous like supernatural detective in Italy, like Italian press. He's big internationally. Not necessarily as big here, but people like him enough for DC to publish a series with him in it. I don't know. Kind of reminds me of that Batman Bixby thing that I also didn't read, but feels like the same kind of premise. Except this one doesn't have a distinct black label on it. If you're not reading a ton of Batman, maybe pick it up. If you're a fan of Dylan Dog, definitely pick it up. If you're reading way too much Batman, as I am, maybe just, look at the beautiful covers and keep walking. That's what I'm going to do. $4.99 on that cover. Next up, from DC Comics as well, is Suicide Squad Dream Team, issue number 1. This is a 4-issue miniseries. Basically, that's going to lead up to the Absolute Power event. There's even like a big thing on the trade dress that says Countdown to Absolute Power or something like that. And I'd buy it, except I'm not buying it. Joshua Williamson's not writing it, so to me, it doesn't feel like it's going to be like if it was that important, he would write it. It's important enough. I'm sure there's going to be a story that's carried over, not to disrespect any other writers. It's a heavy week. I'm not buying it. $3.99 though. $3.99. That's the book that's $3.99? Whatever. Next up, from Tom King and Bilquis Evely, the team the team that brought you Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Creator-owned series from Dark Horse Entertainment, or Dark Horse Comics, called Helen of Windhorn, issue number 1. Their solicit says this is Conan meets the Wizard of Oz, which is quite the pitch. Sword and sorcery on the Yellow Brick Road. Maybe there's not a Yellow Brick Road, but there is a Tom King and there is also a Bilquis Evely. So check that out if you enjoy their work. All the reviews I've seen, like the early reviewers, people who were cooler than me and got to read a copy of this ahead of time, say it's amazing, brilliant, beautiful. So check it out, maybe. Cover price on that is $4.99. That's cover A. And those are all the books that are personally on my radar for the week that I thought maybe you'd be interested in as well. Let me know, of all the books I talked about today, what you're most excited about. Is there anything that you're fed up with as much as I'm fed up with Amazing Spider-Man and the Krakoa era? Let me know. Some things just ain't hitting the same. It's not the way it used to be. A throwback to better times, I guess, is in order. I don't know. I suck at these whole sign-off things. Speaking of signing off, shout out to the channel family. Really appreciate you guys. See you guys in another video real soon. Till then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace. My bad. I just turned the camera off, and as I turn the camera off, I'm scrolling and I realize Red Hood the Hill number 2 is out this week. I'm definitely buying Red Hood the Hill number 2 from Sean Martinborough and Sanford Green, although I think Tony Akins is doing the art on this issue this time around. Not a whole lot to say about Red Hood the Hill, except it was intriguing. Issue 1 I enjoyed. Issue 2 I hope I enjoy just the same. Can't lie. A big part of the draw for me was Sanford Green on art. The fact that they're alternating artists is like, but Tony Akins did the Zero issue. If you like the art in the Zero issue, you'll like the art in this one. I've talked too much, but how much is this one? Well, good. That's $3.99 as well. And see, they're not just doing $5 comics. There's some $3 comics too. Sure. See you guys next week. Peace.